Hello everyone, this is ACHAIA Akaya, and we are in Game 2 of the Round 1 action for the VGvSC2A versus SC2 Armory tournament, or exhibition matchup. I'm not sure exactly what you would call this, but anyways, the best 5 players as deemed by VGvSC2A on the SC2 Armory playing against the best 5 players on the VGvSC community site, and I believe those were organized by Spartan. But as we saw in Game 1, Azreal was really able to take advantage of Sobe with that. Basically, like I had mentioned earlier, he went 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, and he put on a lot of pressure with those early Marines and a couple Hellions and forced the Zerg player, who had already teched a decent amount, to strictly build Zerglings and Spine Crawlers for a little bit, which as he was keeping that pressure on, he was able to get 1 lone Banshee out in the mix, and that Banshee took down the only anti-air that Sobe had, so he was forced to GG because he didn't have anything to take on that Banshee, and he was not mining at that point. So anyways, we will see if Azreal does something similar this game. I know that, again, he likes to use that build where he basically goes one of each of those tech buildings until he gets up to the starport, and then just keeps constant pressure on. But of course, it's a little bit more difficult to do that throughout the game in a 4-player map, typically because there's just a lot more space between you and your enemy. And then of course, if you don't scout early enough, you have to find out exactly where your opponent is and what exactly they are doing. This map is Metalopolis. If you are not familiar with it, it is another 4-player map, and looks like we have a scouting drone coming out here for Sobe, going to scout the mid left here first, and then I'm guessing that he will be scouting the bottom here shortly, as he does have an overlord over in the mid right base, so he will be aware shortly of exactly what Azreal has up his sleeve right now. And as you can see, he is putting up 1 barracks and has 1 refinery going, which this is exactly what we saw him do last game, which is pretty typical opening for Terran. From this point after the barracks, we'll see if he decides to change it up from his last game build. However, looking back at Sobe's base, his spawning pool has not even finished, and he has already started a hatchery, so already seeing a bit of a deviation from Sobe in this game. But looking at the income tab, we can see that there is a slight harvester advantage for the Terran player Azreal right now, and as you can see, he does have about the same amount of gas, slightly behind, but he does have, I'm sorry, about the same amount of minerals, but he is slightly behind in gas because I am sorry, wow, I am totally jacking up the way I'm talking right now. But he is ahead slightly or behind slightly in minerals, but is ahead in gas because he had his refinery up before the extractor was up for the Zerg player Sobe. So he is going to have a slight advantage of that, at least initially. But we do not see Sobe getting up a second geyser like he did in the first game. He went for 2 geysers very, very quickly and got that layer almost immediately. He did not even have any Zerglings out on the map before he got that geyser in play. And it looks like he is going to get some early Zerglings this time, able to take down that first SCV so quickly with the speed increase that the Zerglings get on the creep. It is nearly impossible to keep an SCV scout alive in a Zerg player's base anymore, it seems. But it looks like there is a spine crawler going down at the natural expansion, so he is going to play a little bit more defensive this game right off the bat rather than waiting for Azreal to push out on the map. And these 4 Zerglings apparently not going to do any scouting, but rather just going to stay at home for the time being and try to play defensively. But looking back at Azreal's base, he does have his factory out and he is getting the starport again. So once again, going for a very, very similar build as what he did in Game 1. So we'll see if it's as effective as it was in the first game. And getting some more supply depots out, it looks like staying on top of his production, which is very, very important because getting supply blocked, as everybody knows, is a very bad thing to do. But anyways, 1 Hellion and 6 Marines working their way across the map right now, possibly going to try to do some attacking here and keep some pressure on. I'm guessing he meant to send them to that Xel'Naga watchtower though, but apparently a slight misclick there as 1 Zergling comes out from Sobe here, and he is going to get killed immediately because these Marines and Hellions aren't messing around. But it looks like they are going to move out against the Zerg player right now. That 1 Hellion getting way up in front of everybody, but he manages to get pulled back by Azreal before he gets himself into too much trouble here. But there is 2 spine crawlers now and still 3 Zerglings to defend against this, so it doesn't look like Azreal is going to be able to get quite as quick of a win as he did in Game 1, so he's going to be forced to back off for the time being. He does have some more reinforcements coming up right now, another Marine it looks like, and another Hellion, although he may try to do some kind of a run by on the ramp here. Although it looks like he is going to be able to get the queen, he still is not going to have quite enough units to run by that spine crawler and these zerglings on the ramp, which apparently are holding position right now. So he's going to continue to stream reinforcements up there, and once again does have an early Banshee coming out here as well. So with the killing of that first queen, he is only going to have one queen left, and he does have his lair up and running already, but he does not have any kind of a tech yet. So we'll see if Azreal tries to get some cloaking for those Banshees so that he can actually hide them, or at least cloak them so that he can do some more damage. But continuing to stream just pretty much not Hydras, but Marines and Hellions up into the Zerg player's entrance here to keep him contained for the time being. One Banshee is over there already and ready to go, and still no detection, although he does have a Hydralisk Den up and running now. So, and it looks like the Banshee is going to move into play here and going to try to take down this queen possibly, but it looks like it's not going to be able to take down that queen quick enough. And actually, I'm not sure, is one queen going to be able to take down one Banshee? It doesn't look like it. So that queen is going to go down. There are no queens on the map for the Zerg player Sobe right now, as you can see on the overlay here, although he did just spawn a couple of Hydralisks which were able to dispatch that Banshee rather quickly, although the production of Sobe is going to be slowed down significantly without those queens to help him with the spawn larva tactic at his main base. But back at the base of Azreal, he's putting down 2 more factories, so it looks like he has decided to go for some kind of a mech build here, and getting a second command center up and running. He does have this turning into an orbital command right now, which, just a quick note, I've seen a lot of people turn it into an orbital command initially once they've built it, rather than waiting until they landed at the expansion. I'm not 100% sure which one's better. The argument for turning it into an orbital command before you move it out is that by the time you land it, you may have enough, you'll have a little bit more energy, which will allow you to get some more mules in there and allow you to also use it for scan if you would prefer to do that. Of course, the argument for moving it over right away is that if you have enough SCVs at your main that you're going to transfer them, the sooner you get the command center over there, the sooner you can transfer them and begin taking advantage of that expansion. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure which one is technically better, but I've seen it done both ways, and both seem to have their advantages and disadvantages. Anyways, moving back into the game, it does look like we're going to see a couple of tech labs going down on these factories, so possibly going to see some tanks. Yeah, we do see him building a tank in one tank in one Hellion. But looking at the production overlay here, we can see that he is also producing a Raven, which, if he's able to get a hold of the Hunter Seeker missile, that could actually be a very, very devastating tactic to use against the Zerg player. The light armored units of the Zerg, such as the Zerglings and the Hydralisks, and even the Roaches, actually take a pretty good amount of damage from that Hunter Seeker missile. And with how small those units are and how much they clump up, it does a lot of damage if you're not able to move your units out of its path in time. But looking at the tech of the Zerg player Sobe, it looks like currently he still just has his Hydra Den, Roach, Warren, and his spawning pool, so he is not going to deviate from his plan currently as far as the tech that he is going to be utilizing. But back at the Terrans player's base, he does have one Banshee out still. Gots, that's not even really a word, is it? He does have a Raven out as well, which of course